Sairam students, let's begin with the class 8 history. We are doing with the chapter 5 of history. The chapter's name is When People Rebel 1857 and After. This is our second part of this chapter today. Let's go through the content of the chapter. Policies and the people. Through the eyes of the people, a mutiny becomes a popular rebellion. The company fights back and aftermath. In our first presentation, we have learnt about the topic policies and the people. In that policies and the people, you learnt about how the Nawabs, they lost their power, and how the peasants and the sepoys, they were affected by the different policies of the Britishers, of the East India Company. And we also learnt about the responses to reforms, right? Now, through the eyes of the people, children, in this topic, through the eyes of the people, two sources have been given to you. One is related to Vishnu Bhat Godse. On the way to Mathura, Vishnu Bhat was told that he should not proceed on the journey as there was. But before starting, Vishnu Bhat Godse, a Brahmin, he was from a village in Maharashtra. He has written that source in the book Majha Pravas. I have given you the image, in the image also the name of that book, Majha Pravas. It is written by Vishnu Bhat Godse. He was a Brahmin and he was from a village in Maharashtra. What happened there? It was told to him that on the way to Mathura, Vishnu Bhat was told that he should not proceed on the journey as there will be a massive upheaval in 3 days. According to the sepoys, a list of 84 rules was announced at a gathering of rulers and the kings at Calcutta. The rulers refused to accept these and warned the British of dire consequences. As per them, a date was fixed for the war of religion and the secret plans were made for this at Meerut. This is what, if you want to go through it, you can see the Vishnu Bhat Godse's Majha Pravas book. Okay, it is also given in your textbook also. And the second source is given related to Sitaram Pandey. Now Sitaram Pandey, even he was Subedar Sitaram Pandey. He has given this memories from his when he was recruited in 1812 as a sepoy in the Bengal Native Army. He served the English for 48 years and he retired in the year 1860. He helped the British to suppress the rebellion, though his own son was a rebel and was killed by the British in front of his eyes. So on retirement, he was persuaded by writing in 1816 in Awadhi, and then it was translated. Norgate translated it into English and had it published under the title, that is the book of the title is From Sepoy to Subedar. Now here what Sitaram Pandey wrote, that is given here. Now let's see what he has written there. Subedar Sitaram Pandey wrote his memoirs in 1861 in Awadhi, which was later translated in English by Norgate, right? His commanding officer. As per him, sieging of Oudh filled the sepoys with distrust and they turned against the government. The agents of Nawabs of Oudh and King of Delhi played on the feelings of sepoys. This is according to Sitaram Pandey. This was the time when training was to use a new rifle started. At that time, a rumor spread that the cartridges were greased with fat of pig and cow. The men from regiments, they spread the word that this was insult to their religion. This situation was aggravated as the minds of soldiers were already inflamed by the seizure of Oudh. So interested parties, they claimed that the greased cartridges were used to defile the soldiers and convert them to Christianity. This is also one of the source that was given as from the memoirs of Sitaram Pandey. It was written in Awadhi, but it has been translated in English by Norgate in the book From Sepoy to Subedar. Now moving to the next topic, a mutiny becomes a popular rebellion. Before starting with your topic, let's understand the meaning of the term mutiny. What is that mutiny? See, when soldiers as a group, they disobey. They disobey means when they don't listen to the instructions from their officers in the army. That is called as a mutiny. See, when a group of soldiers together they join and they disobey, slowly and gradually that group goes on increasing and they all join together to rebel against that. That is what a mutiny becomes, a popular rebellion. Now in this topic, children, we are going to learn the two main important topics, that is from Meerut to Delhi and the rebellion spreads. Now let's learn each and every topic in detail here. First is a mutiny becomes a popular rebellion. What is there under that? That's mutiny. You all understood it very well. When soldiers as a group they disobey their officers in the army, that is called as a mutiny, right? A very large number. Actually, what happened? The struggles between the rulers and the ruled are not unusual. Sometimes some struggles become quite widespread as a popular resistance, so that the power of the state breaks down. So a large number of people begin to believe that they have a common enemy and rise up against the enemy at the same time. For such a situation to develop, people have to organize, communicate, they have to take initiative, and then they have to display the confidence to turn the situation around. Such a situation developed in the northern parts of India in 1857. After 100 years of conquest and administration, the English East India Company faced a massive rebellion in May 1857 and threatened the company's very presence in India. This is what when mutiny started, and when mutiny becomes a rebellion in the year 1857, in the May 1857. What happened? The sepoys mutinied in several places beginning from Meerut, and a large number of people from different sections of society they rose up in rebellion. Some regard it as the biggest armed resistance to colonialism in the 19th century anywhere in the world. So this is how the rebellion started. Okay. Now here again I have given you the meaning of this mutiny that is given in your textbook also. When soldiers as a group disobey their officers in the army, that is mutiny. Now let's begin with the topic from Meerut to Delhi. Now let's begin with the topic from Meerut to Delhi. On 29th of March 1857, a young soldier, Mangal Pandey, was hanged to death for attacking his officers in Barakpur. Some days later, some sepoys of the regiment. What happened there? Some sepoys of the regiment at Meerut, what they do? They refused to do the army drill using the new cartridges, which was suspected of being coated with the fat of cows and pigs. So what 85 sepoys were dismissed from service and sentenced to 10 years in jail for disobeying their officers. This happened on 9th of May 1857. Then the response of the other Indian soldiers in Meerut was quite extraordinary. What happened then on 10th May, the soldiers they marched to the jail in Meerut and released the imprisoned sepoys. Which imprisoned sepoys? That is the 85 sepoys that were arrested for disobeying their officers, right? So they attacked and killed the British officers. Then what happened after that? The response of the other Indian soldiers, this is what you have seen. On 10th May they did like this, okay? They tried to release the imprisoned sepoys and then they attacked and killed the British officers. Then they captured guns and ammunition and set fire to the buildings and properties of the British and declared war on the Firangis. Now what is the meaning of Firangis? Firangis means the foreigners. This term reflects an attitude of contempt. That is, Firangis actually, that's a Hindi word. But Firangis means the Britishers, okay, foreigners. The soldiers were determined to bring an end to their rule in the country. But who would rule the land instead? Then after that, the soldier had an answer to this question. The Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar. Then now what happened after that? The sepoys of Meerut, they rode all night of 10th of May to reach Delhi in the early hours next morning. As news of their arrival spread, the regiment they stationed in Delhi also rose up in rebellion. Again, British officers were killed, arms and ammunition they were seized, and the buildings were set on fire. This was all started there also again. Triumphant soldiers, triumphant means the victorious soldiers, they gathered around the walls of the Red Fort where the Badshah, which Badshah? Badshah Bahadur Shah Zafar, okay, lived, demanding to meet him. The emperor was quite willing to challenge the mighty British power, but the soldiers persisted. They forced their way into the palace and proclaimed Bahadur Shah Zafar as their leader. But then what happened? The aging emperor, he had to accept this demand. Because of the age of Bahadur Shah Zafar's, he was a bit hesitant, but then he had to accept this demand. He wrote letters to all the chiefs and the rulers of the country to come forward and organize a confederacy of Indian states to fight against the British. The Mughal dynasty, even what happened there, the single step taken by Bahadur Shah Zafar had great implications. Then the Mughal dynasty had ruled over a very large part of the country. Most smaller rulers and the chieftains controlled different territories on behalf of the Mughal rulers. So threatened by the expansion of British rule, many of them felt that if the Mughal emperor could rule again, they too would be able to rule their own territories once more time under the Mughal authority. So the British had not accepted this to happen. They were not expecting the rebellion in such a vast way. They thought the disturbance caused by the issue of the cartridges would die down. But Bahadur Shah Zafar's decision to bless the rebellion changed the entire situation dramatically. See, previously Bahadur Shah Zafar, he was not ready to be the emperor for them, to support them. But then, when once Bahadur Shah Zafar's decision changed, he joined the rebellion, the entire situation was changed. Often when people see an alternative possibility, they feel inspired and enthused. It gives them the courage, hope and the confidence to act on that. So, now next, let's move to the next topic, the rebellion spreads, how it spread. See, after the British were routed from Delhi, there was no uprising for almost a week. It took that such much time for news to travel. But then regiment after regiment mutinied and took off to join other troops at nodal points like Delhi, Kanpur and Lucknow. After them, the people of the towns and the villages also rose up in rebellion and rallied around the local leaders, zamindars and the chiefs who were prepared to establish their authority and fight the British. Now, the important role here, Nana Sahib, the adopted son. You have learnt about the Nana Sahib in first presentation also. Nana Sahib, he pleaded against that doctrine of lapse policy, right? Nana Sahib, the adopted son of the late Peshwa Bajirao II, who lived near Kanpur, gathered armed forces and expelled the British garrison from the city. He was all, now in this you will see how many of them, many more people started joining the rebellion here with the sepoys. Let's see here further. Then what happened again in the Lucknow? Now then what happened in Lucknow also, Bilgis Qadar, the son of the deposed Nawab Wazid Ali Shah, was proclaimed the new Nawab. See, we learned about Nana Sahib, he the adopted son of the late Peshwa Bajirao II. He proclaimed himself as Peshwa and he declared that he was a governor under Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar. Then in Lucknow, even Bilgis Qadar, he joined he proclaimed himself as the new Nawab. Then he too acknowledged the sovereignty of Bahadur Shah Zafar. Sovereignty means like superiority as the superior lord. Then even his mother, that is Begum Hazrat Mahal, even she took an active part in organizing the uprising against the British. Then the next, in Jhansi, Rani Lakshmibai joined the rebel sepoys and fought the British along with Tatia Tope. Now Tatia Tope was the general of Nana Sahib. Then next, Rani Avantibai of Ramgarh. Even in the Mandla region of Madhya Pradesh, Rani Avantibai Lodi of Ramgarh raised and led an army of 4,000 against the British, who were taken over the administration of a state. Then the others who joined with them were the Veer Kunwar Singh and the Bakht Khan. Then what? Bakht Khan, a soldier from Bareilly, even he took charge of a large force of fighters who came to Delhi. He became a key military leader of the rebellion. Then in Bihar, an old zamindar, Kunwar Singh, he joined the rebel sepoys and battled with the British for many months. So leaders and fighters from across the land joined the fight. Even many new leaders. On 6th of August, we find a telegram sent by the Lieutenant Colonel Tytler to his commander-in-chief, expressing the fear felt by the British. What did he write in that? Our men are cowed by the numbers opposed to them, and the endless fighting. Even every village is held against us. The zamindars have risen to oppose us. This is like he has expressed the fear that the Britishers were having because of this rebellion. He has said our men are cowed by the numbers opposed to them and the endless fighting. And he said even every village is held against us. It is not only like a single person or a single village, but each and every village were against him. And even zamindars, they were supporting this rebellion, and everybody has risen to oppose us. Then even one more leader came up. One more has been given here, Ahmadullah Shah, Maulvi from Faizabad. Even he prospected that the rule of the British would come to an end soon. This is what you have seen. So many rebellions, so many people joined this rebel with them. So here, let's have the quick recap what we have learnt in today's session. We learnt about a mutiny becomes a popular rebellion, right? We saw how it turned to be how that mutiny turned to be a rebellion. Then we saw from Meerut to Delhi how the rebellion spreads. Then the leaders, many new leaders have joined that rebellion. We have learnt about them also, right? And the remaining part, the company fights back. Now how the company answers back to this rebellion, we will be learning in the next session, children. Till then, go through this presentation and take care, children.